in the forward line and really struggled. So let's hope he makes amends tonight.
And he is a big fella too. As we start this game at Telstra Dome. And Darcy got first hand onto it. Buckley's there for Collingwood. Couldn't get a clear handball away. Over the top of it was Cross. Burns is on the top of him. And we'll have a secondary bounce just outside the centre square.
It'll be an interesting contest, Stephen and Tim, because I'm sure the Magpies will try to bottle it up, use their stronger bodies, so that we'll have plenty of stoppages. The Bulldogs will be trying to get the ball out in space.
Cross knocked it forward, but only as far as Rowe, who goes to half forward and finds Loney. So really the first clear possession of the match. So Ryan Loney, who's a superb kick of the football. He goes to Shaw, who fell over, but managed to stay on the knees and take the chest mark.
When he finished his skid, he was in the perfect spot, and it was a great kick that found him. Can he make the distance from there, though? That's the question.
He's picked up Johnson, incidentally, and it's Loney on Smith.
Well, he didn't fancy his chances. Going short, into the pocket now, the ball goes. Here's from Rowe. The grant's there for the Dogs to Cooney. He's had a couple of weeks in the VFL, freshened up. McMahon to the running West, number one in the AFL in disposals. Back to McMahon to the 50, beautiful kick. And he's found Mitch Hahn. So Hahn's 55 out, he doesn't wait, he goes for home. Johnson in the goal square, shepherds it through. It didn't bounce through, it bounced on the line and came back, and it's a rush behind.
Well, Brad Johnson did everything right. He went to shepherd that ball and just got a cruel bounce and kicked back into play. You can see the pressure that Johnson's putting on Reece Shaw. It looked like it landed on the goal line.
That is dead set stiff.
That is unlucky.
And we do sometimes criticise players for taking the mark and taking the goal off their teammate, but it goes to show why they do it. Now Collingwood on the rebound. Burns delivering half distance to the Curia. Collingwood trying to move it very quickly to make things happen with this improvised forward line. Walker getting into the contest, Fraser there as well. They just can't prize it away, and the Bulldog defence manages to... No, it's a free kick.
Let him up, let him up. That's high, you're
going
free.
the Bulldogs' way. Smith to take it. Stats have been down the last 3 weeks. Rowan Smith, he'll be looking for a big one tonight. Darcy and Rawlings coming a long way up the ground.
Rawlings again gets the ball moving quickly. Nice pass, and he hits a sliding Patrick Bowden on the chest.
And one of the most improved players in the Bulldogs lineup is Patrick Bowden. Eventually, have a look at him. He's got the size to eventually play as a centre-half forward.
23 goals he's kicked this season. He's on the Doug Hawkins wing to Eagleton. Talking about improved players. Over to West to Murphy. Down to the pitcher is O'Brien. And he knocks it forward. Coops. Beautiful tackle by Buckley. But let's have a look at that kick from Mitch Hahn again. And how close can you get? Right on the line. And the goal umpire in perfect position. That is unlucky.
It's got to be over the chalk. Over the chalk completely, and it wasn't.
Craig Parry will have appreciated the backspin. Darcy trying to hustle it out. McMahon, Eagleton, good work by the Bulldogs as they now set up their main running man in Smith. Rawlings looking for a free kick, feeling that he was impeded. His opponent pressed the Giacomo with strength and cunning. Works to the Curia and Buckley. Midfield battles very important here. If the Bulldogs can break even, you think they should win the match. Now Leon Davis, who is Collingwood's leading goal kicker tonight, going in with 13 for the season. From 13 games, so he's only averaging 1 a game. And Collingwood's 22 tonight have kicked 95 between them for the year. The Bulldogs 22 have kicked 175. Whoa, bit of a fumble. Smith's got him. And now the ball is loose. Shaw. Well tackled by Smith.
Well, we've seen 2 excellent tackles by veterans there. Rowan Smith, Nathan Buckley just a minute before. Let's Lindsay Gilbey in picture. He's playing back pocket. His job is to control Leon Davis. And Gilbey last week played against Melbourne. He was on Aaron Davey, the forward pocket specialist, so should be ready for this job.
Fraser against Darcy. West again. Quick kick out of the pack. There's a couple of Bulldogs there. One of them's Johnson. Now measures the kick inside 50. In front was Rawlings, no mark. Robbins is in there. Rawlings picked it up. Tackled. Buckley again. Cole. Robbins. Buckley. There they are playing in close. Lucuria to Johnson. He's got some free space. Kicks it to the wing. Darcy will get there first. He takes the chest mark. You just get the feeling that Weston Buckley could be headed for 40 disposals tonight each, because they're playing pretty loose at the moment, a lot of the midfield.
Now Gilby, as the Bulldogs look to set it up again. Shaw did enough against Johnson, and Woden's there to cover. For Davis, working down in the back half. And you sense Collingwood looking to find a monumental midfield effort. But misses like that from Jason Cloak don't help.
Nathan Buckley is playing as a centreman at the moment. Robert Murphy, his opponent, and that's about the closest thing that you'll see to a tag with the Bulldogs. The Bulldogs have really set their players free tonight. They're letting them have their head, and I think that's good coaching by Peter Rowe.
Burns took it out of the air there, which is fraught with danger even if you're not a ruckman. Johnson to Maxwell, good move. Now Lucuria, that familiar stabbing delivery was absolutely perfect for Walker. And the big young Western Australian who played his first league game of full back in the opening round last year against Matthew Richardson. Here's the Collingwood spearhead at the start tonight.
He's done the right thing, Tim. He's just settled himself down. He's been selected to play as a key forward. This will give him and the team enormous confidence if he can put it through.
From nearly 50, and it was an uncomfortable looking kick. So they each have a behind. Kevin Rose, former president, with the present day president, of course, Eddie and Carla sitting next to him.
And Ian McMullen there too was a very handy footballer and cricketer in his own right. Smith brings it back in. Mercuria attacks the football. Did it beautifully to Buckley, who slipped as he kicked. Woden in the pocket. Bowled over by Boyd. Boyd won the football in the end. Well played. Got it to West, or did he? Handball's a bit loose, but West has the time to recover. Harris.
Well,
nowhere to go.
He's hesitating because he hasn't got anything.
Terrible kick. Play on, says the umpire. Sock it off the ground. I think it was Burns. It's a goal. Well, it was a sloppy passage of play. Buckley slipped as he kicked. You don't like to see that. That can cause a nasty injury.
Well, Brian Harris went to go down the wing, and all he saw was Reece Shaw. He couldn't continue on that way. He had to turn back. Once he turned back again, he was stranded to find a teammate, and the error resulted. And Brian Harris, you got a feel for him. Just seconds before that, he looked down to the wing position, only saw Reece Shaw of Collingwood. He had to cut back into that middle corridor. The short pass wasn't good enough, paid the ultimate result.
Goals don't come much worse than that, by and large. The lead up and the execution, I guess, was pretty good, although he just snuck it in. Now the Bulldogs through Cross. High lob into half forward. Good effort, Johnson.
He's good overhead for his side, isn't he?
Long arms, as they used to say. I'm not sure whether long arms really do exist. I suppose they do. But he plays tall.
And Brad Johnson, who's taken that mark, his opponent is Reece Shaw. And you can see Reece Shaw, he will struggle to go with Johnson in the air. Reece Shaw did a job on Ackermanis last week, but different type of player.
For the equaliser, and he does it. Came quickly, and that's often a good sign.
What did Jack Dyer say? His arms reached up like,
yes, giant appendages,
something like that.
It's a pretty good kick for goal too.
So 1 goal apiece. Through Burns for the Pies and Johnson for the Dogs. Darcy got the tap beautifully to West, who kicks it back inside 50. Prestigiacomo with courage. She's an underrated player. Takes a terrific mark. Goes to a young man who's only playing his 4th game, but looks a likely type to row, and that's a great mark on the wing to Woden. Outmarked a couple of Dogs. Swings onto the familiar left, drives it long to the 50. Beautiful kick. O'Brien can't mark. Buckley off the ground. That's on the full. So free kick in the back pocket goes to the Bulldogs.
Tremendous mark down at the other end of the ground. What a stalwart he is. The man with one of the longer names in the game. Indeed, in its whole history. Now Eagleton. One of the shinier heads in the comp these days. Perhaps only Martin Pike ahead of him. McMahon to Murphy. Rawlings trapping it well on the half volley. Again coming a long way from home and filled with uncertainty. Cross dragging it in, needs to get it out now. He might be in stride. He is. He's gone.
Hurt himself with that smothered kick too, Rawlings, Tim. Just slightly, I don't know, jarred his left knee or something like that.
It's interesting, for all the doubts about his physical status, he hasn't missed a game in more than 2 seasons. I think he's played something like 70-odd on the trot.
No, Hawthorn wouldn't give him a 3-year contract. Bulldogs gave him a 4-year deal.
Loney with the sit there. There have been a lot of mistakes early. Coops, the little dab. Now Bowden. Curia meeting him hard. The Dogs controlling the footy. West has had a lot of it already. Tried to do too much there. Collingwood's ball. Advantage. Johnson. Good kick to Fraser.
Good play by Fraser. He's the Collingwood ruckman. As soon as he's heard the whistle go, he bolted forward to present as an option. That'll be part of Vic Malthouse's coaching plan, is to make sure that Fraser pushes forward, because he needs tall marking players in the absence of Tarrant and Anthony Rocker.
12 goals, 9 this season to Josh Fraser. Number 1 draft pick back in 1999. From right on 50. Won't make the distance. Ball's still in play. Cooney's there, Loney and Buckley. Goes back to Woden. Sidesteps, runs to 48, goes for home. Good looking kick by Woden. And in the end, Harris concedes the rush behind.
And there we've got Reece Shaw on Johnson. And I wouldn't be surprised if Peter Rode gave Johnson plenty of space in the forward line and directed a lot of the forward thrusts through Johnson to take advantage of his marking ability over Shaw.
Smith to Murphy. And now West for possession number 5. Grant.
On the 50, Chase! On the 50!
Nice to see him finish this season.
On the 50!
Full of good footy to convince him and everybody around him that he should be playing again next year. Smith, that's a lovely ball for Johnson, who's causing Shaw some early problems. Hahn not able to hang on. There's a second line there in Robbins. Well tackled. Goals hard to come by. We've played more than half a quarter and just 1 kick at each end of the ground.
Interesting, Leon Davis spending plenty of time in the thick of the action. Not a forward pocket specialist. They're trying to develop his midfield skills. That's good.
The Curia's got the football. Darcy lays the tackle, so does Eagleton. Umpire will bounce.
10 arms on it there.
Nathan Buckley out of the action, pretty much playing as a centre-half forward. Scott Burns alongside him. You can see young Matthew Boyd has the job once Buckley goes forward.
Shepherd, it is. It's going against Darcy. He just stood there. Fraser couldn't get around him, and the umpire's given the free kick. What do you reckon of that one, Rob? Fair enough?
Fair enough.
Yep. So Josh Fraser with the free kick inside defensive 50. Shorts onto Lucuria, and he takes the mark.
Well, Lucuria's opponent is young Daniel Cross. That's a good challenge for him. You see the Magpies, they will often go back to get a switch of play in the defensive 50.
And Clement, a good man to give the ball to, because he's such a lovely deliverer of it. Bounce, that was an unkind bounce for Prestigiacomo. Coops did it well. And Presti's down in a bit of bother. That's not a good shot for Coops. And we'll have a throw in, but that's a sorry sight. Oh, and it doesn't look good.
And they started the interchange bench with 3 small players, the Magpies. McKee was the only other big man, and they are in trouble.
No Shane Wakeland, of course, after last Saturday night. So with another key defender down, they've got big problems at both ends.
Harm to West. Blazes away. And it's a free kick to the Pies. And this is not a good sign.
Well, Presti coming off, he's had injuries for most of this season. Jason Cloak immediately sprinted down to the back line.
Happened so easily, got wrenched out of the socket, didn't it? That is terrible news for Collingwood. Well, they just cannot take a trick, the Pies. As McKee comes on, immediately into play. Good stuff by Boyd to win the hard ball. Got it to his skipper, who goes sideways into the middle. Gilby. Now Smith loves these. Buzz missed a golden opportunity.
He just poked at it, and that's a shame, because Rowan Smith's one of the better kicks in the side, and he just poked at it. He didn't give it the full kick, and he'd be bitterly disappointed with that.
It's a good kick in to Shaw, so keep it wide. Lock you now. And it's precise football from Collingwood right around the perimeter. Lucuria. And now Cloak running forward again. Davis has got too close to the oncoming man, but Johnson gives it back to Cloak. And McKee didn't quite have enough. Yes, he did.
Well, full marks to Steve McKee. He's just come on with Prestigiacomo going off. The big fella's come on. He's gone into that forward position. His first real go at it. And have a look at the eyes on the football. Full of courage, Steve McKee. He deserves to kick a goal for that effort.
Mark or a free, Rob?
Well, he certainly didn't hold it to control the mark.
He didn't, did he?
Burns had the crumb. He might have been dangerous. McKee should finish it, but he doesn't.
What about the slip on the kick? This ground is slippery. I don't care what anyone says. There are too many players slipping, and you can't blame the footwear all the time.
I've actually been told, Robert, that most of the players have already put the long stops on. After they did their warm-up, they went in and changed their shoes to the long stops.
Any news on Prestigiacomo yet, Christy?
They've taken him straight down into the room to check that shoulder, so that's where we don't have any news yet. But gee, he's in some pain.
The kick in, Cooney. Speaking of #1 draft picks. Another throw in. I tell you what, no matter who they're playing tonight, if the Pies can win this game, it'd be a famous victory, wouldn't it?
There's Robert Murphy. Now, he is at full forward for the Bulldogs. Just got a feeling when Buckley pushes forward for the Magpies, you'll see Murphy push forward for the Bulldogs and then meet him in the centre.
Burns. Quick kick to the 50. Oh, bad bounce for Lucuria. And that allows Smith to pounce to West. Back to Smith. Over to Hahn. Manages to elude the Buckley tackle. Now drives it long to the 50. Shaw and Johnson. Well played, Shaw, but was he holding on to him? Umpire said yes.
And that'll happen because he knows he can't go with Johnson in the air. He will infringe. He'll panic. He'll give away free kicks. I think Richard Cole's the player to play on Brad Johnson.
Beautifully done by Hahn, too, to get it up there as he backed himself against Buckley and was able to work clear and kick long. Now, the Bulldogs haven't been able to really damage Collingwood yet, and they won't be kicking like that. That was an absolute shocker off the instep.
And Shaw lets him know about it.
And a bonus statistic for Justin Rowe. So Collingwood hanging in for now, despite all sorts of adversity. Johnson, pacey man, needed to be there and was kept under good pressure by Boyd. Cloak giving it back to Rowe. Davis to run at it, but could never get into the contest against Grant's stature. And the veteran Bulldog That's the comfortable mark.
Only playing his 4th game, Julian Rowe, but he looks like he demands the football, doesn't he?
He does.
He looks like he knows what to do out there.
He looks quite confident out there, and that's a great sign for a young player. The Magpies have moved Josh Fraser to centre-half forward and McKee into the ruck.
Well, that's another poor kick from Harris to no one in particular. But somehow, some way, it found Johnson, who has a stab at goals from an impossible angle, and just missed. And chastises himself by giving himself a whack on the rump. 1-3 apiece.
Richard Cole in picture. I would think that he would be a good matchup for Braddy Johnson of the Bulldogs.
Lockyer. And that's a good kick too. Whose mark is it? Rose or McKee's? It's McKee's. I thought Rowe might have had his hands in there. Mercuria has been busy, and that's a good kick again. He's finding targets. O'Brien now. Lovely kick. And Burns, with the man on the mark, about 46 metres out, would be a chance.
And Scotty Burns is usually a reliable kick. Loney playing as a half forward. That's a good challenge for Loney. Spent most of his career as a half-back flanker, winger. In the absence of the key forwards, he needs to step up across that half-forward line. There's no reason why he can't do it.
That looks good. That's very good. He has 2. Well, he might be the secret scoring weapon for Collingwood. They need someone to put their hand up. Their delivery into their forwards has been much better than the Bulldogs early.
It has, and as we thought pre-game, Tim, it looks like it might be a low-scoring affair. Certainly at this stage, after 22 minutes of football, just the 3 goals have been scored.
Scott Burns kicks his 99th career goal. And it's the Magpies by 6 points. Deep into the first quarter. Bad news for the Pies is that Prestigiu Como is off what appears to be a fairly serious shoulder injury. Buckley with disposal number 7 to the wing. McKee, good trap for Johnson, who's had a great year. And his kick finds Fraser. 55 from goal. He's got loose Magpies everywhere. He kicks it long. His target is Lacuria, but getting back to save the day for the Dogs. Chris Grant.
And he backs himself in the air, Chris Grant. A couple of times in this game he's run back and not interested in the spoil. Being prepared to put the hands around the ball, take the mark. That's a good sign.
And Harms away for the Dogs.
Now it's 1-on-1. And Robbins had the set, just needed to hang on because Collingwood have numbers, but Johnson intelligently works it clear. Clement attacks it. And holds it up pretty well. Eventually releasing O'Brien, Johnson, Buckley. And Collingwood could worry the Bulldogs out of this. Loney now, with McKee running down the ground for him, on his preferred side. And he kicks it well. Kicks it perfectly for Fraser. But Grant again arrives at precisely the right moment. Wonderful effort, but he's given it up. Fraser cleverly. Burns again. He's got 3. His 100th career goal. Collingwood by 12 points.
Josh Fraser, remarkable effort. We'll see it coming up. Chris Grant gets the footy, goes to ground, and have a look at this quick kick. It's just a forced kick. He didn't have any balance. He knew he had to free that ball up 6 or 8 metres if he could. And Scotty Burns quick to gather it up and slam it through. Great goal. Just a super effort by Josh Fraser, outnumbered, and the way he was able, off balance, to get that ball on the boot, to free it up, to get it into the goal square. And that's a shot of the centre bounce. You can see the Bulldogs forward line. They are virtually in a straight line, so they are opening up the flanks and the pockets. They can, if Bulldogs clear the ball, they should have forwards leading out into space.
McKee has done some nice work since he's come on. Gives it to Buckley, who kicks it to half forward. Fraser's there again. Attack the football. Won it. Tries to get it out to Johnson. He does in the end. On his wrong side. Goes back to Fraser. 50 out. Goes into the pocket with a beautiful pass. And finds Jason Cloke.
Got to kick it. He won't want to kick it, but he's got to kick it. And Nathan Buckley, the skipper, the nearest man to him, immediately said, get back, settle down and have a shot.
Just quickly, another Collingwood player has come off injured. Young Julian Rowe has been taken down to the rooms to get a thigh injury checked.
So Cloke, is checking the mark. He doesn't want to kick it, does he?
He doesn't want to kick. The biggest criticism of young Jason is his kicking. He's courageous, he defends stoutly, he gets a strong fist on the footy.
And he's missed.
Well, if he keeps on winning the footy, he'll have more opportunities to kick goals, so let's hope he can put a couple through. And that's the good part about the game. When you've got Rocker out and Tarrant out, somebody else says, well, gee, I'm an opportunity here to be the key forward in the team. And everyone wants to be a key forward, Tim.
Oh, we all want to kick goals. Gee, this looks to be about a team that knows a bit about winning and one that doesn't in the early part. Collingwood by 13 points. Gilby. Collingwood zoning up well, forcing the long ball in the street direction. And they are long arms, such as those that Jack Dyer once referred to. Collingwood work it to Johnson. And their delivery has been a treat so far. Boyd, well tackled. Their tackling hasn't been bad either. Fraser, oh, that's a wonderful kick. It just curled a little much. But it's all Collingwood at the moment.
Gee, they just don't look like it at the moment, the Dogs, do they, Rob?
And the amazing thing is, the Bulldogs have had more entries into their forward 50 than Collingwood. So they get it to their 50-metre area, they get it to their half-forward line, and that's where they break down.
Smith to West. Well spoiled by O'Brien. They just want to hold it up here, the Dogs. They'll have a bounce.
Peter Street doing the ruck work for the Bulldogs. He started on the interchange bench, but the big fellas come on. And that means that Luke Darcy is now standing the other end of the ground in the goal square. So we can see Street in picture. And been given a lot of opportunity this year, Peter Street.
So quarter time at Telstra Dome, and it is the Magpies, despite being decimated by injury, despite losing that man, Simon Prestigiacomo, with what appears to be a nasty shoulder injury. The Pies in front at quarter time, 3-5-23, plays 1-3-9.
Key running down the ground for him, on his preferred side, and he kicks it well, kicks it perfectly for Fraser, but Grant again arrives at precisely the right moment. Wonderful effort, but he's given it up. Fraser cleverly, Burns again, he's got three!
Well, Scott Burns was the star for the Pies in that first quarter. He kicked all their 3 goals, and Magpies lead 3-5 to the Bulldogs, 1-3-9. That was the worst, equal worst first quarter for the season for the Bulldogs. They kicked 1-3 against Melbourne in round 3. Johnson 11, Buckley 10 for the Pies, Smith 8, West 7. Robert, Peter Street.
Well, Peter Street going for the ruck contest. See the eyes give it away, and the eyes are on Steve McKee. Once you do that, you've got no hope of hitting the football. You just cannot go from looking at an opponent, then putting your eyes on the football. He needs to do better than that. Just keep his eyes locked on the football.
And interesting, now in season 2004, the Bulldogs have won 17 of 65 quarters. That's the worst in the AFL. That is a shocking record as we go to Chrissy Malthouse with the news on Simon Prestigiacomo.
Well, it's not good news for Collingwood, but it's probably better news for Simon Prestigiacomo in that he has come out of the rooms. He hasn't had to go to hospital. He has dislocated his shoulder. They've popped it back in. And as I said, he's come back out into the rooms and he's actually joined the players in the huddle, but he won't take any further part in the game. He's got his arm in a sling now and looks pretty miserable, and he was certainly in a lot of pain when he came off the ground earlier. The other one is Julian Rowe. He has his left thigh strapped up. He did a bit of testing just in that break then. He didn't look too good. He's actually starting on the bench now. So the Magpies may start this quarter 2 men down.
This would be a famous victory, wouldn't it?
It would. They might pull it off. They've played well in the first quarter. They've found someone to kick a few goals for them. And the Bulldogs perhaps paralysed a little by the pressure. It's unfamiliar territory. They're expected to win tonight.
Just have a look at the way the Bulldogs have set up for this centre bounce. They have got one player down in the goal square and a huddle at centre half forward with 5 others.
Street starting, as is McKee. So Fraser forward. Good pressure from Collingwood. O'Brien hustling it. It's stiff not to get a free, perhaps. And now a ball up.
And that player, Tim, in the goal square is Luke Darcy, with Peter Street continuing to do the ruck work for the Bulldogs.
McKee getting his body in good position and bringing it down for Lucuria. Woden playing up on the first line of attack for Collingwood. O'Brien, Buckley there. West getting it off, and Gilby swinging it clear and wide.
Number 1 draft pick for the Bulldogs.
Played 14 of the 17 games this season. Said been given a rest in the VFL just to get some match fitness, because he's been used off the bench the last month or so. Just sort of lost a bit of fitness, so I guess that's the way to go, Rob.
I think they've handled him fairly well, and there we see Shane Burrs putting good smother on the Buckley kick. Yeah, I think so. And look, it's very hard for teenagers to step into AFL football today, because the opposition, the bodies are just so strong. It takes them a couple of years to build the bodies.
Still just 18, Adam Cooney.
And there's a bit of young bodies.
Ray.
Yeah, well, young Ray, number 1, he's been penalised there, but have a look at him. He's got such a skinny build. And he's got 3 summers in the gym to look.
He looks like he's about 14, doesn't he?
He does. Pretty stiff there. When he just picked up the ball, was brought down, fell on top of it, and had no chance of getting it out.
O'Brien in 2 minds. And then goes to Holland. So Brodie Holland trying to create something. Trying to break up play. Goes inside 50. Good mark taken by Lindsay Gilby. Off the ball, there's a bit going on. Burns is wrestling with Boyd. There it is. And the Dogs are away. Rowan Smith kicks to the wing. Looks for Robbins. Well, Rawlings went over. Cole kept his feet. Now Rawlings has another crack at it. Got it back to West. Drives it long to the 50. Johnston's a chance here. Nice mark out in front of his face. Now kicks to the leader, Darcy, and Darcy gets there. Moving a little bit gingerly too, I think. He's got the bandage on the knee. Just looks a little bit proppy there as if he's leading in front of Walker.
Well, Walker, the man on the mark, has been moved from the forward line to the key defence. So we see him slipping there.
Maybe it was more just a slip. He pulled up a little bit lame, didn't he?
He did. Important kick this. The 2 teams that are playing tonight are the only 2 teams in the competition that to this stage of the season have kicked more behinds than goals. So the most inaccurate sides in the competition.
Collingwood's last and Bulldogs second last.
And even now, Collingwood 3 goals, 5 behinds. Western Bulldogs 1 goal, 3. This is a must kick.
Luke Darcy is accurate. He's kicked 26-7 for the year. He's usually a beautiful kick for goal. And you give a guy a rap.
And I believe there are reasons why these 2 teams kick so inaccurately. Not so much that shot there, but by and large, when they take the ball into their forward 50 zones, time and again, they take the ball close to the boundary line. So when they do have a shot for goal, they're only kicking at half the goal face. The angle's so tight.
The Dogs have missed a couple of gettables so far. Smith in the first quarter, Darcy then. Lockyer goes wide to Holland. Still the Bulldogs with just the 1 goal. Johnson now. Fraser is lined up as a forward, and he's covering a lot of territory. Buckley.
And again, Tim, around the boundary line all the way.
Who can stop this man? I don't think he'll kick a goal this time. He's a long way out. He doesn't go for it. That's a good placement. Cooney for Bowden. Scrubbing his kick, running it pretty well.
Was that deliberate?
Probably.
Hard to ping a player on that, though, isn't it?
Better road. Nick Moldhouse. Like what he sees so far. It's pretty well done in the end, wasn't it?
Well, we've got a situation where McKee, the ruckman's got out of the way and dragged Street with him, so it means Chris Grant has to do the ruck work.
Fraser got the tap. There's a couple of pies there. One of them's O'Brien. Runs to 48 and misses to the right.
And that's an advantage for Collingwood if they've got Josh Fraser rucking against Chris Grant.
3-6 plays 1-4. There's Julian Rowe. Started well, got off injured in the first term. Coops. To Grant. Oh, beautifully spun out of trouble, but unfortunately had his kick smothered. And it was Nathan Buckley, the man doing the smothering, as we'll have a throw in on the Doug Hawkins wing. The yellow means, well, Precious Giacomo's definitely gone for the night. Rowe looks doubtful. There's Lochan getting some treatment. Throw in. Street over the top, back of the Packers west. Little give to Ray. Run down. Superb tackle from Nathan Buckley. Lucuria somehow got it to Lockyer. Burns into the pitcher. Umpires picked him. Been unlucky there. He was lucky to play.
What else could he do?
Yeah. That's what he said. What am I supposed to do? Among other words.
He wins the football. He's verified. Have a look at this. He wins the footy.
Slips.
They come at him from... That is a shocking decision.
Look at this obsession, this penalising the player who's actually going for the ball. Rowan Smith, long ball. Darcy almost. It's the worst thing to do on the football ground these days is to be over the ball.
See Buckley split. Now let's have another look at it. Scott Burns wins the footy. They come at him from all angles. They wrap him up, and he's penalised. That is against the spirit of the game.
Johnson gave Robbins half a chance, but Reece Shaw finishes the play. And the Bulldogs are 1-5.
Some of Buckley's 1%ers, Smothers, tackles, blocks, Shepherds, have been absolutely A-grade.
And now he brings the ball into play. Johnson to Cole. He backs himself. Oh, he's got a couple of bounces. The second one was cheeky, but he got away with it as he runs the lines and finds Fraser centre half forward. Fraser gives it to King. King goes for home. Champagne football on the Magpies. That was a fantastic goal.
And the good thing about it was that they backed themselves, they ran, they carried, they were bold, they were daring, and it was brought down the central corridor. From the kick in to the end result, that ball stayed in the middle corridor, and you can see young King, he's happy, and why not? This is the best passage of play of the game for the Magpies. From the kick in to centre half back, into that centre square, to centre half forward to Josh Fraser, unselfishly gave it off to King, and then through the goals. Great passage of football by the Magpies.
A vintage David King goal. The Kangaroo would normally have a couple of bounces, of course, in the lead-up. Now Burst working it to West. Bulldogs desperately need a couple, and Darcy might be able to deliver here.
That was Scotty West's 11th disposal, and he is running red hot in the centre of the ground for the Doggies.
Blake, got another 3 metres.
He could have gone the shorter option to Brad Johnson. He decided to boot it with everything that he had. And Luke Darcy just too good for Walker. And after that miss of 5 minutes ago, he'll be keen to make amends.
Just got to kick this.
And he knows he's no certainty, don't you?
Gone a long way back. He doesn't want to kick it from too far out. He's done it. Just, but he's done it. if that might kick-start them. Great move there, initiated by West.
Would he finally win a Brownlow?
Well, he'd have to be some chance, wouldn't he? Leads the comp in disposals. Headed to a 6th best and fairest.
Very smart play. You can see Clement in the middle there. He's dropped out of the huddle, James Clement, to get back in the hole in front of Luke Darcy. That is an experienced defender, summing up the situation perfectly.
Pies by 13 points. And there's no way the footy's getting out from there.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Westy.
West has got 12, Smith 11 disposals for the Dogs, Johnson 13, Buckley 11 for the Magpies. There's the Dogs bench, Ray Hahn, Eagleton, and Skipper is yet to come on. Third man up was Cloak. Johnson to Holland. That's a free kick to cross. No, says the umpire.
No chance! No! Fuck up! No chance!
Now, Scott Burns still unhappy about being penalised himself for feeding it earlier, saying what was the difference between that and mine?
Now, the umpire's blocked a free kick there.
Oh no, get your hands down! Get your hands down!
Now, it's really hard to pick a free kick out of all that without pushing and shoving.
And that's 50-metre penalty because Nathan Buckley continued to argue, continued to talk. But I'll tell you what, this all stems from that shocking decision that was on Scott Burns about 5 minutes ago. And the players, Nathan Buckley knows football inside out, so too does Scott Burns, and so too does Mick Malthouse. And that's why they're angry, because a player who makes the play is penalised so unfairly, and therefore the players start to lose confidence in the umpiring.
And really, how can you buck one out there with all the players are just groping each and manhandling each other? That's really tough. West. The Bulldogs might get a couple here in quick succession, but it kicks a shocker into the pocket. Short. Oh, Walker decides to take it over the line rugby style. And Nathan Buckley has got steam coming out of the ears.
This is the decision that started it all. Well, that's the second one there.
Here's Fraser again. Good move by Collingwood. Long kick in and a quick, decisive movement. They're playing like a team that's been encouraged by its coach to be prepared to take risks. Burns beyond his range. He's been fired up tonight, Scott Burns, since that holding the ball decision against him.
An absolute flood going on. Bulldogs have got 15 players in their defensive 50.
Yes, it looks like the Terry Wallace super flood. Fraser just about unopposed as it turned out. O'Brien getting it to Lucuria on his wrong side. Couldn't get the sweetness of contact. No mark. Barely went 5. And there'll be a ball up.
And this is the one that caused all the trouble. Scotty Burns wins the footy, is immediately wrapped up in a tackle. No way known he could get rid of that ball. No prior opportunity, and he gets penalised. And that's why the players out there are on edge.
Holland for the Magpies gets there first. He's bowled over by Hahn. Lucuria, nicely done to Maxwell. He's got Buckley in support. Back to Burns. Back into the corridors of Lockyer, he's free. 65 from goal. Pops one over the top to Locken. He can goal from here, but he unselfishly goes into the pocket. And Lucuria with courage gets the free kick, the mark, whatever you like. He stood his ground.
He did, and good composure here. Duncan Lockyer to Locken. And Locken could have blazed away. He could have blazed away. Instead, he had the vision. He saw Lucuria in the pocket and put the ball to his advantage. And Paul Lucuria, well, he'll stand there when the hooves are thundering down. No doubt about that.
So Paul Lucuria, just the 3 goals this year. And that is a very, very poor miss. It's always easy up here, of course, but it's a bad miss.
They've kicked 1 goal 4 from set shots this evening, the Magpies.
deserved a better outcome. They both wasted opportunities. Collingwood lead by 13 points. Gilby out wide.
Thanks, Shane. That's the mark.
Murphy.
Wait for the call.
Dogs just haven't really settled. Well, they're going via the Cape here. Hoping for Grant, and his back has been crashed into by McKee. The ball will come back here. Umpire Rosebery paying the free kick. There are 10 free kicks given this evening, and he's paid 8 of them.
And there's Paul Licuria with that missed set shot. And he realises it's just so costly because goals are pretty hard to score tonight.
Up and under from Grant. Street nearly marked. It should have done in the end. King for Collingwood. Grant easily taking a key under the ball. Skipper it was. Murphy. In the Darcy direction. He's been 2-footy wise for Walker, but he just couldn't hang on to that one.
They're persisting with Luke Darcy at full forward. There's Skipper in picture. He's just replaced Peter Street. He was in that contest. I think he's a bit shaken up by it all. But Wade Skipper is one of the young Bulldogs who, well, they're expecting big things from him.
Oh, Darcy pinched it out of the ruck. Goes for home. But Cole will get there. Long kick, and it's a beauty too. That's a fantastic kick under pressure to Lockyer at half-back. Licuria provides the run to the wing. Coops in front of Lane. He couldn't hang on to it. Ball still in play. Coops will get another crack at it. Got the handball out to Burse. To Johnson, who's perhaps within range. He's got one under the pocket. He ignores him and he wobbles. Inexplicably a torpedo into the goal square. But from the side was Rawlings. It was a poor kick, but Jade Rawlings bravely from the side has taken a spectacular mark.
Well, it was an absolute mongrel punt off the boot of Brad Johnson.
A couple of footy in the head when he landed, I think.
And to Jade Rawlings' credit, he kept his eyes on it. And surely he can't miss.
Nice whack on the schnoz, and he drills it home. Dogs back in it. Look at the nose on Rawlings. I reckon he's broken his nose there. That's the ball fell on top of his nose when he hit the ground, and that is a nasty-looking injury from Jade Rawlings.
Oh,
gee.
He's certainly broken his nose.
That potentially is very dangerous when the bone goes up.
He'll have a nose to match his young brother. Jade Rawlings, courageous mark and a nasty landing. Nose first into the turf.
No, he's got to come off. Dear, that's a terrible, it looks like a badly broken nose.
See, the bleeding was quite delayed.
Wasn't it?
Dogs are back in it. Margin 7 points. The casualty rate on both sides high.
The umpire's seen this. He's got to stop it, surely. He's got to stop the game.
Well, he will now. The field umpire has seen it, and common sense prevails.
It was delayed. It was amazing that the blood was really delayed, wasn't it? It looked like almost he's done something to the vessels at the bridge of the nose.
It's an awful one, isn't it?
Jade Rawlings off. Patrick Bowden back on to centre half forward.
He said the players these days are soft.
They earned their money, no doubt about that.
Well, look at the bend on that nose. That is a shocking break. And it's amazing it took so long for...
Well, that is gut-churning stuff.
Is.
Play on, both up.
Gilby brought down by Fraser.
I still reckon it was when Sharon hit the ball anyway.
Just give it to him, man. Give it to him.
Don't try and get the football. Don't try and take possession of it if your knees are touching. Leon Davis, now Johnson. Locken nearly. Lockyer. Loney with the run at this. Coops in front. Just 7 points in it now. The Dogs are closer than they've been for a while.
Magpies have made a change. Jason Cloak has gone to full back on Luke Darcy, and Tristan Walker has moved down into the forward line.
Well, the Pies need a steadier here. In front was Walker. It's a behind.
For this entire second quarter, the Bulldogs have persisted with Darcy at full forward and Brad Johnson just out in front of him.
Grant. So Smith to West. So it's through three of the old-timers combined. Bulldogs within 8 points now. After that terrific mark from Jade Rawlings, boy paid a price. John Kennedy say anything above the net doesn't count.
That's right.
I've never quite understood that.
Eagleton, good snare, runs to 60, drives it into the pocket. Darcy gets back, and in the end we have a throw in.
Now, I said it's an obsession, this call of holding the ball against players. Gilby just trying to collect it. He is driven into the ground by Fraser, and it is the tackler who comes out of it with the free kick.
And no prior opportunity, Tim. I just think they're terrible calls.
It's a matter of interpretation. It's really, I think, what the umpires are being taught. Here's Burns for Collingwood.
Down the middle again, which is positive.
And Chris Grant, the only man there.
Having a good night, Chris Grant, isn't he?
Nothing at half forward for Collingwood that time. Now bursts, and he has men in short. He takes McMahon. Now who's he got? He keeps it wide, very wide, and Bowden is on the end of it. He's a good kick, Patrick Bowden, but this is a very testing shot if indeed he goes for it. I think he's being put out in the first row of seats virtually.
Luke Darcy just gave Jason Cloak a hand in the face. I don't know whether we can clip that up. That's why he got the 8 metres on Cloak. Just have a look at this. Have a look at Luke Darcy. Watch Luke Darcy. Whack. Oh. And that gave him the 8-10 metre break to enable him to take this mark.
And he's feeling his schnoz too. Cloak.
Well, Jason Cloak's entitled to say to the umpires, there's 3 of you out there. What the heck's going on?
So they can't see everything, but there are 3 sets of eyes. Now, difficult shot for a left footer. Will he bend it back or is he using the drop punt? Looks as though he's kicking it straight. Straight across the face.
But again, Tim, another example of a shot for goal from a very tight angle. Let's have a look at this again. Any hit to the face, any hit to the throat, the umpires have told us players will be penalised. No penalty there.
So the Pies work it to half forward. Skipper. Throw in. That was Jade Rawlings and Dr. Gary Zimmerman work on the boundary to fix his nose. That was a bad break. Holland, quick kick out of the pack. Pies back inside 50. Grant is having a superb night. This is his 11th disposal and he's taken 7 marks. We waste no time. To Gilby, looking for Cooney. He's bowled over by Clement, bit of experience there. Shaw in support. Not sure what to do with it. Doubles back, forces himself on the left, but the kick's good as he hits O'Brien.
7 points in it. Close to time. That's a good kick. Well weighted for Holland. And working it into the corridor and working his way up ground is Cole. 2 of them to beat. Just could never get freed up, but Fraser.
That was the worry. That was the worry, because Fraser is playing deep forward on Skipper, and Wade Skipper is out of his depth playing on Josh Fraser when Fraser plays as a forward.
Edging out, bending it back, beautifully done. Collingwood by 13 points. effort by Cole, who took them on. I think he was half hoping he might be freed up to be able to blaze away at goal himself, but he placed it well in the end.
Peter Road making the changes. Darcy into the ruck, so he'll contest this next centre bounce. And Wade Skipper has been sent to the goal square at full forward.
Darcy won it to West. To half forward. Oh, Holland got a horrific bounce. Cooney's there. Clement. Again, too tough and too experienced to Shaw. Back to Clement, to Holland. To the wing. Woden. Johnson, 16 disposals for Collingwood. West, 16 for the Bulldogs. It'll be one of those nights, as I said, where a couple of players might end up with 40.
Play on! Trapped into him, I'll have it.
Gee, they're the ever-reliables, aren't they?
Well, in close, in tight stoppages, Collingwood will thrive on this because they've got the more experienced, stronger-bodied players. Just have a look around that contest. Lucuria, Woden, Buckley.
Shaw, not the best of handballs. Chance here for the Dogs. West again. Johnson back with a flight of the ball. Couldn't get there. Ball fed out to Burse. Davis in there for the Pies. Eagleton. Ball still alive. Now it's fed out. Another chance. McMahon. Well tackled by Cloak. Kick into the goal square. Clement couldn't hang on to it, but it was off hands. It's a point for Farron Ray.
It's not Anthony Hudson warming up for the match at half-time.
Gee, he looks 14, doesn't he, Farron Ray? So does Hutto.
So Collingwood lead by 2 goals. Time for the Dogs to pull one back before half-time, or for Collingwood to stretch it. And on the trend of play, that's the more likely. Loney. Now, there's no one within about 30 metres of goal. Fraser getting back. Darcy getting the fist in there, but a holding free kick. And Fraser sprinted 100 metres. He's the ruckman for Collingwood at the moment. He sprinted 100 metres forward to be in that marking contest, and Luke Darcy was stressing every step of the way. And this could well be the second goal to the Collingwood ruckman in the last 5 minutes of the game, because he's pushed forward. He makes no mistake, and the Magpies, close to half-time, lead by 2 goals. And not too much wrong with that decision, I wouldn't have thought. Fraser was pulled off balance, pulled to the ground as he was trying to mark. That angle not revealing it as the other one did.
Did pretty well there, Josh Fraser, to enable himself to be held and pulled back. That is, he's a smart footballer.
Collingwood by 18. Darcy against Fraser. Buckley dispossessed. Soccer off the ground by Holland to half forward. Locken against Murphy. Locken does it with one hand and does it nicely. Back to Clement. Drills it long once again. Walker! Big Tex has taken a spicky.
I've been waiting 2 years to see that.
But it was a beauty.
Well, he's a man mountain. Mick Malthouse is making some good moves. Walker, full back for most of this quarter. He's gone to the forward line. Cloak has gone to defence. Josh Fraser's sprinting forward to be a second tall option whenever possible.
Well, it deserved a go. Like the curious mark earlier. There you go. Lavetti. was a great mark, but he couldn't off.
Gilby for the Dogs. Well, they're getting in deeper here, close to half-time. And they're going nowhere right now. Clement to Lockyer, to Maxwell. Missing Clement, just putting him under some pressure, but he is cool. They wove him back to Maxwell and Clement. Lockyer. They might just have time to make another assault on the attacking end of the ground, but if they go to half-time leading by 19 points, they could be pretty well pleased. They're very wide out on the full, but the Dogs will have to do everything right here to cut into that margin before the siren sounds in just over 11 seconds from now. This is Boyd, and time against the Dogs now. And that'll be it. And Collingwood, against the odds, have played a very good first half.
So half-time here at Telstra Dome, and the Collingwood hierarchy like what they see.
Welcome back to the Telstra Dome, and forget Collingwood and the Western Bulldogs. The big news is Robert Di-Medico terrorising the youngsters in the Celebrity Auskick game, and you'd think he'd get 4 weeks for that. And a Silvani injury, the youngest Silvani injured during the game, and not even the Bulldogs mascot could make things better for him there. But back to the real game, and Collingwood lead the Bulldogs by 19 points. A couple of injuries. Simon Prestigiacomo won't take any further part in the game. He is off with a dislocated shoulder. They have managed to pop that shoulder back in, which is good news for Simon, but he won't be on for the rest of the game, and probably you'd think his season would be over. Jade Rawlings for the Bulldogs, he came off with a broken nose. They tried to put that back into place, not that I could watch because it didn't look very nice. They've put some stuffing in there to stop the bleeding, and he will come back out onto the ground. So good news for him, and the Bulldogs do need their spearhead back out there in the second half. Also for Collingwood, Julian Rowe has a corked left thigh, and it is strapped. He has been desperately trying to convince the Collingwood medical staff that he can come back out into the ground, but I doubt that he will make another appearance.
Thanks, Christy. The marvels of modern medicine. Just a bit of cotton wool stuffed up the schnoz for Jake Rawlings. Well, that'll do.
Gee, we've seen some nasty ones in recent weeks, haven't we, with Dustin Fletcher last week for the Bombers and Jade there. But look, good on him. He's out there. He's got the nose plugged with cotton wool, and he's setting himself up at centre-half forward for the Bulldogs, and they need him because they've only kicked the 3 goals in that first half.
Well, the Bulldogs started this game as not the raging hot favourites, but certainly the fancy picks, and Collingwood, to their credit, have taken it up to the Doggies despite the fact they've been decimated with injury and continue to be, and they lead by 19 points as we start the third quarter. Darcy got first hand on it. Johnson, what a year he's having for the Pies, drills it long. Walker's in front of his opponent, Grant, can't take the mark. Gilby, good tackle, Walker. The umpire will bounce 25 out. Collingwood's goal.
Well, the Bulldogs have started with Luke Darcy in the ruck, and they're relying on Rawlings and Bowden up forward to be the tall players.
And Harris, who looks as though he's gone to full forward.
West. Got the hard ball again. Kick comes out to Davis. Targets Loney. Grant from behind. Oh, didn't punch. Didn't punch. Play on. That had to be a mark, surely. No, said the umpire, and the Doggies out of danger. I'd like to see that one again. Darcy into the middle. To Cole. Back to O'Brien. Pies are going to get another shot at it here. Chips it to the 50, but it's all Bulldogs. And the mark taken by McMahon. Grant was behind, didn't punch. How it wasn't watered a mark, I don't know.
Love to see it again, and I'm sure we will.
Loney was only 20 metres from goal. Here come the Dogs. Rowan Smith down the corridor. Has a bounce. He could go all the way here. Runs to 55, loads up, but misses to the right. 2 behinds to Rowan Smith. Let's have a look. Loney in front. Now, that is a mark. You've got to pay the man in front.
I would think you'd pay the man in front.
You've got to pay the man in front.
There was certainly a bit of Grant purchase from behind, but there was just as much by Loney, and he brought it to ground.
And you must pay the man in front. It's a ruling forever.
It's a time-honoured interpretation, isn't it?
I agree. In fact, even the Bulldog players stopped.
Gee whiz.
Holland now for Collingwood. And Buckley. That's a good centre for McKee. Darcy just hustling him under it, but Woden's dangerous here. Just enough curl. No, not enough curl for a behind.
Disappointing kick by Shane Woden in the end.
Just thinking what Nick Malthouse might have to say after the game.
Oh, dear. Well, I don't think after his coffee with Ron Evans he'll say too much, but...
he might say absolutely nothing.
That's right. Now, Harris has gone back to the back end of the ground. Whether he ran forward by mistake, I'm not sure, but he was down at full forward for a couple of minutes at the start of the half. Now, this is cross for the Bulldogs and Murphy.
So Robert Murphy, who's been pretty quiet tonight, just 5 touches for him. Verse, who is the late inclusion for power to half forward, marked by Hahn. Now, he's not a bad roost of the footy, Mitch Hahn.
No, he's a chance from there. Magpies have got Jason Cloak playing loose man in defence, a role that he just relishes. And Mitch Hahn should have a go at this.
He's about 50, kicking from about 53 metres out of the end. So Hahn unloads. It's not a bad effort. It's a beautiful kick. Goal!
Desperately needed, and he produced the kick that has been so elusive for Bulldog forwards tonight. Long and straight. They're back within 2 goals. So well in touch, but oh gee, they've made heavy weather of kicking goals. Good bounce by Matthew Head, and Darcy gets the hand onto it for McMahon. Good stuff. Murphy. This is a good-looking move for the Dogs. Johnson there. Hahn at the back, but Cole matching strides with him. In fact, outstrips him. Good stuff. And a good kick.
Just brilliant football by Richard Cole.
Holland to Lucuria, and on to Collingwood's Johnson. Smith out positioning Woden. The bounce favouring the Collingwood man, but again, his kick just fails to hit the target.
And at the other end of the ground, Peter Road has decided to take advantage of Johnson on Reece Shaw. 10 disposals to Johnson, and he's got the entire 50 to himself at the moment. And the plan will be to get it as quick as possible to Brad Johnson on the lead, or even up in the air against Shaw.
Darcy with the footy. Had 9 disposals, 7 marks so far, and kicked 1 goal too. Into the middle. It's a real hamstring snapper, that one. But it was a good effort in the end by Bowden. Inside Bulldogs 50, Lockyer receives from Maxwell and finds Buckley. Now the Pies' chance to attack. Johnson on the wing.
The ball just gets swept out of the Bulldogs half-forward line. Time and again they get it there, and then the forwards just cannot lock it in, and Collingwood sweep it out at will.
19 touches to Johnson, 17 to Lucuria. Lockyer now to Loney. Back to Johnson once again. Not the best of kicks, but Lachlan taps it nicely. To Loney from 65. Goes for home. Superb kick. Typical Loney goal.
Yes, they will give it to him at every opportunity because he can run and carry and kick the ball long. And how often have we seen that?
Rowan Smith is the Bulldogs' equivalent. He's had a couple of running shots from similar range, and each time he's missed.
Murphy in picture for the Bulldogs now. He's one of those players who is in the second group, if you like, behind the 5 or 6 veterans. Only had the 6 disposals this evening.
Luke Darcy, not for the first time, a little unhappy. McKee's ball. Johnson again making his presence felt early in the second half. O'Brien, poor kick. Coots is in the way for the Dogs. And the action for the Bulldogs on the other side of the ground. Burse, Eagleton, who's been quiet tonight.
Just 3 disposals, Tim Eagleton.
Burse centering, the idea was right, but there were no targets.
And again, they get it to half forward, the Bulldogs. And again, it comes back.
There was an ambitious assignment that Buckley sent Leon Davis. Murphy, the numbers with Collingwood overwhelmingly. Like, you probably didn't need to do that. The Dogs hold it in by virtue of that fist to the line and might be able to make something of the clearance.
Robert, is it worth now either team initiating any sorts of tags? Maybe Johnson to be cut down. He's being damaged. Is it worth to do anything negative?
Well, there's no doubt that Peter Road has sent the Bulldogs out to free wheel tonight, and that's okay. I reckon that's okay. But Scotty West and Nathan Buckley are the 2 high possession getters. You'd have to think about putting someone on Buckley for the entire game.
Eagleton scores are behind.
Now, Eagleton's one player who could get the Bulldogs back into this contest. He's only had a handful of disposals, which is well down. I think he's a pretty good player. He's an improved player. They need Eagleton to lift, Patrick Bowden to lift, and also Robert Murphy.
Well, Eagleton's averaging 19 touches a game. He's got 5 tonight. So that's well down.
Curia, oh, that's a good lead by Lockham. And a perfect delivery. Margin 18 points. Fraser and Grant with Woden. Been dangerous up there in this quarter. Just hasn't quite been able to finish. Murphy.
Just a couple of good signs, Tim. Murphy and Eagleton starting to come into it. And Luke Darcy, the man with the footy, he may well play the rest of this game out as a ruckman. If he does, you'd expect Collingwood, you'd expect the Bulldogs to win most of the hit-outs, and Darcy himself to get plenty of the ball as an around-ground player.
I'm not sure who he's after with that kick, but all he's found is Nathan Buckley.
Again, a breakdown at half forward.
Yeah, that's a good delivery for O'Brien. With the Dogs. Smith not really laying a hand on that, so Collingwood with the chance from the throw-in.
Chance here for Collingwood to extend its lead. McKee in the ruck against Darcy. Darcy kept it into dangerous territory, and in the end West was forced to concede the behind. Takes the mark. To Darcy. Slip. He did. He's okay. Oh, clash of bodies there. He's locking against Hahn. Now it's a hot footy. Over the top of it was Cross. Did it nicely. Quick kick out of the pack by Smith to half forward. Big pack wide. Back of the pack. Robbins has got a nail this. Open goal. And slots it home. There's some heavy clashes there. There's the slip from Darcy. Great stuff there by Daniel Cross. Put his body on the line. The quick kick by Smith. Pack flew. And lurking behind was Robbins who finished it off. Give the gold star to Daniel Cross there.
Yes, and good to see Robbins coming into the action. They've been using him as a forward a lot in recent weeks. There we have Chris Grant playing across the half-back line for the Bulldogs. The Bulldogs have only kicked 5 goals in 70 minutes of football. He's in pretty good touch, Chris Grant. Maybe you put him to centre-half forward and put Patrick Bowden to centre-half back. Bowden's struggling as a half-forward.
And Bowden on Fraser would be dangerous though, wouldn't it, Rob?
Well, I just think you've got to give yourself a chance to win the game, and that's the problem with the Bulldogs, because they hang in, but I just think that Peter Road has to be adventuresome, has to be bold, and Grant going forward, we know he can take marks, you know he's a strong body, and I think that the captain would rise to the challenge.
Another holding the ball. Buckley in front of Holland, coming the other way strongly and unflinchingly. Gilby to Johnson. Bulldogs just starting to put it together a little better. They've kicked 2 goals to 1 for the quarter. They need to string 2 together. Rawlings is there. Bowden was there too. And Robbins might be dangerous again. Locken. Johnson. Collingwood just finding a way through a difficult evening. Grant had front position. Bulldogs with the crummers. Loney.
Well, that's no different really about 3 or 4 others we've seen.
No, absolutely right. And if Grant went forward, you've got a couple of options. Bowden could go back. Even Jade Rawlings could go back. Both of them have struggled in the forward line for 2.5 quarters.
West to Boyd. To the man in question, Grant to the wing. The mark's taken by Cross. Good handball to West, back to Cross. Bulldogs trying to create. Cross drills it long, but close there all by himself.
Well, he's been playing as the extra man in defence, and of course he thrives on that.
Cloak to Clement. Nice delivery to Lockyer. City side of the ground, he's got Loney on the wing. A quick movement by the Pies. Told to play on. Back into the centre corridor to McKee. Long kick, it's a good one too. Can Fraser get there? He waits for it to bounce. Plenty of room to move for Fraser, not much pressure. Kicks it into the goal square. Woden from the side. What a throw in.
Gee, they gave Fraser latitude then. Understanding perhaps. Bulldogs continuing to fall down in their delivery up forward. Darcy rucking and roving. West, dangerous here for the Dogs. Eagleton, good hustling by Burns. Gilby did it well. Grant just explored the options there. He was looking to play on if the door was open. It wasn't. Darcy can. Eagleton's running into space for him. That's where he's headed. This looks better, but can they find a way in? Cross again. They're a big ball winner. Too strong. Bowden. Collingwood's tackling down there good. And again they take it away short of Buckley.
Just no urgency in Patrick Bowden once he got possession of the footy there. Had to realise the tackle was coming.
McMahon on hands and knees, fed it out to Robbins. Back inside 50 of the Bulldogs. Rawlings attacks it. Sport by Clement. Clement will get another chance at it. Head over the ball. Good stuff to Cole. Back to Clement to Shaw. Shaw for the Pies to the wing and finds Davis. Game just lifted a notch the last couple of minutes, you sense. Davis to half forward, looks for Buckley. Nice kick, takes the mark. Buckley plays on to Loney, who runs into goal again. Long kick. Walker on the line.
Settle down. Did the right thing. Could have tried to slam it on the boot. And again, a handball to Loney on the run. Don't we see that so often? That was a goal 10 minutes ago. Almost one there. Now a certainty for Walker.
Tristan Walker's kicked 3 behinds tonight. Surely won't miss this. pocket. Lovely kick from Loney. Right in the goal square. Good look out of place. Wrestling bears up the Rocky Mountains, Woody.
He's a big boy, and I know they've got big hopes for him. They think he'll eventually be a ruckman.
The battle toll high for Collingwood. Lucuria having a rest at the moment. The Magpies are doing it well. And the Bulldogs have been disappointing. Cooney playing without a lot of confidence. Cross again. Well done, Maxwell, as he attacked the ball a bit harder than Hahn. Anthem Bowden. Now West. He's been outstanding. Cross again. West again. Now Cooney. And back to Cross. Touch ball is the call. Robbins has to play on. They can do nothing right. And away comes Burns.
Good use of the body here by Boyd. Another chance for the Dogs. He can run inside 50 here, Boyd. He could almost have a shot at goal. Into the goal square. Oh.
Just break your heart.
Poor decision making again.
Yeah, poor decision making. It just breaks your heart. He had taller players in the corridor out at centre half forward.
You'd be ripping your hair out, I reckon, if you're a Bulldog supporter tonight.
How would Scott Westfield, how many times has he pumped the ball inside the forward 50 and seen it come straight back to him?
Here's another chance. McMahon, the cross. Murphy, he's usually a good kick of the football. Long kick. Robbins works his way to the front. Beautifully done against Clement. And Matthew Robbins has a chance to kick his second.
Inside 50s, 13-9 in favour of the Bulldogs in this quarter. Just a nice little nudge there on Clement. Got him off balance and used his strength. Not a tall player, but a strong player is Robbins.
Clement beat them too often,
He'd be disappointed to lose an aerial contest, I would think, to Robbins.
Patrick Bowden off. Street on. Therefore, Darcy will go forward.
Robbins has snared it. The Dogs, 13 points is the margin. As I said, Robbins just worked his way to the front. As I said, you don't see James Clement beaten too often like that. And Matthew Robbins has got two.
Here's the forward who's put his hand up in this quarter. Oh, it's a miserable existence. Watching from the sidelines when your team's in the heat of the battle, but Anthony Rocker would be enjoying Collingwood's efforts. They still lead by 13 points. Still the Bulldogs haven't been able to string a couple of goals together. Need to kick the next and go to three-quarter time with some momentum, and maybe Darcy can do it.
Well, they just need to get a couple of quick clearances, and Luke Darcy will worry Jason Cloak if they can get it to him in the air.
West pushed in the back as the judge at that time. Would have been hard to read. Now Coops. Good old-fashioned high number 50. Darcy. Fair pass.
Well, Steve Silvani, David Dench and Calvin Moore all wrapped up as one. Couldn't have stopped that. That was just a brilliant kick to a leading player.
Coops celebrating his 26th birthday today, but delivering it gift wrapped to Luke Darcy.
Good to see Stephen Coops playing AFL football too, Tim. Started with the Dockers, knocked around with injury, and I was really pleased to see him come across to Melbourne to have a second crack at it.
A goal here would really have the Bulldogs in this. Another disappointing miss. 4 behinds. One goal three.
Now we've got the old-fashioned huddle being set up, and the Magpies are now breaking.
Woden takes it to the back pocket. His target's McKee, but he's outmarked by Farron Ray. The 18-year-old.
Gee, another goal by the Bulldogs before three-quarter time will give them enormous hope.
McMahon into the corridor to West, sells the dummy. West can go all the way. He's not a renowned goal kicker. On the goal line, Roberts has got his third. The Bulldogs are back in town at the Telstra Dome. 3 goals in the third term to Matthew Robbins and Scott West. 27 disposals. Street was the contester. Front and centre was Robbins. And let's go to Christy Malthouse with a report on the injuries.
It's like a war zone down here for Collingwood at the moment. As we know, they've already got Chris Giacomo and Rowe off, but Paul Curia also came off in a bit of discomfort with his hip, and his calves also had to have them worked on, but he looks like he's about to go back on. And Jason Cloak is staying on the ground, but he has some sort of a leg injury and is really struggling to run at the moment.
Well, suddenly the Bulldogs are within a goal. Burns to Davis. Good for Collingwood. Sprayed it off the outside of his left boot. Well, there's time enough for the Dogs to be in front by three-quarter time.
Scotty West with his 27 disposals. We're working at 9:15. It is time for Brodie Holland to sit on him, or someone in that Collingwood lineup, because he is just wreaking havoc out there.
Well, that's his season's average, Rob, 27 a game.
Now that's in the back. Cross crashing into and over the top of Burns. Now here's Holland, and that's a good pass for Walker. Yes, he needed to hang on. It was all the Bulldogs if it slipped away, and he's come down a little uncomfortably as well. Man on the mark at 49, so he's a long way out.
Jade Rawlings off, Patrick Bowden coming on.
Stephen Cooper showing a little bit of distraction. Another fellow Western Australian. Close to the man on the mark, and he's almost hit the roof with that. Fraser up, plenty against him. Big Street getting a fist in there. It's not a bad result for Collingwood. Out of bounds better than are behind.
And Scotty West running to Peter Street and giving him a big pat on the back for that effort.
Street against Fraser. Tarkin Lockyer trying to pick it up. Has got Buckley in support. Back to Locken. Grant. Back of the pack is Walker. Missed. 1 goal 4 tonight to Tristan Walker. So he's had opportunities.
Well, both teams continue with their inaccurate goal kicking.
Significant couple of minutes here before the siren. Smith, oh, that's a dangerous kick. Just never looked on.
Now, he was going for his mate Brad Johnson. Brad Johnson has been moved from the forward line. He's having a midfield run at the moment.
Fraser running forward with his arm high to alert Woden to his positioning.
Peter Street has to be very careful of Josh Fraser in this situation.
He's up on the edge of the square now. That's where Woden's gone. Street can't get into the contest. Bulldogs prevail. Gilby, Murphy. Intelligent kick. Just running away from Burns, who says that it was deliberate, but it went about 50 metres forward. Be a very brave umpire to ping that.
And just in picture there, Daniel Cross, a young Bulldog who's had a super quarter. He usually gets a tagging job. Now you can see he's running with Nathan Buckley, but he's had 10 disposals in this third term. As soon as the Bulldogs get it, he takes off and makes the play.
Holland rode the bump beautifully. Runs to 48 into the goal square. McKee got rid of his opponent to go to Holland. Brodie Holland has made something out of nothing. Rode the bump beautifully on Coops.
Needed to be a tackle, didn't it?
And Harris just nudged under the ball by McKee and just escaped his outstretched fingers, and through it went for a goal. So So the ascendancy back with Collingwood. They lead by 13 points as we near three-quarter time.
And Stephen Coops needed to wrap Holland up in a tackle, not bump him as he did. Interesting, you've got Darcy and Street both in at the centre bounce. Street will go for the ruck work, and Darcy is very good at ground level for a tall man.
So the Bulldogs have given ground after pegging Collingwood back, and the Magpies might do more damage. Fraser well tackled. Burst, mown down.
It wasn't in the back, it was in the side.
And this is the bump by Coops. That was just oh so costly. Just needed to wrap him up, get the arms around him, drag him down. And there's one happy pie.
Street outreaching even Fraser. Darcy now, not long left. The Bulldogs need one. Not much support here for Rawlings, who's taken under it. Bulldogs in the race for the footy. McMahon now. And Darcy should go back and have a shot.
Well, Darcy's actually playing as a ruck rover. We saw him in at the last centre bounce, and he didn't get it, but he got the ruck contest just after that. So his immediate matchup would be a smaller Magpie player, someone like a Scott Burns or a Paul Lucuria.
Now he's kicked 1-3. I reckon his first instincts here were to try and give it off, but now looks as though he's going to have a shot. And he might hear the siren, which will convince him of that before he kicks. This is an important moment for the Dogs to really take something to three-quarter time. He's had a black night in front of goal. 1-4. And at the last change, Collingwood lead by 2 goals. It was the Dogs' best quarter on what's been a very difficult night for the Magpies, but they've been wasteful and they've squandered opportunities to be closer than the 12 points by which they trail at three-quarter time as the coaches come out to speak to their players. Did it nicely. Quick kick out of the pack by Smith, the half forward. Big pack line, back of the pack. Robbins has got to nail this. Open goal and slots it home. Three-quarter time, game on the line. The Magpies minus at least a couple of men. Prestigier, Como, Rowe both out for the match. They lead the Dogs by 2 goals. It'll be a famous victory if the Pies can get up. They have been courageous. The Bulldogs, it just seems at the moment they don't know how to win. I know there's still a quarter to go and they might well get over the top, but gee, they've blown some opportunities. Westho's been outstanding. Fresh legs. Could play a major role in the last quarter, Rob.
Well, I would think that the Bulldogs just have to throw caution to the wind. They have to play on at every opportunity, move the ball quickly. If they do this little chip kicking across half-back, it just gives the Collingwood players a chance to get back and form a wall. How many times have we seen the Bulldogs slowly get the ball to half-forward, then release a kick, and then the Magpies, with the extra numbers back there, just run it out? And I would think that they've got to use their run and their skill and play with some boldness, because the game is being played on Collingwood's terms. It's a low-scoring affair. They're a couple of goals in front. If Collingwood kick the next 2 goals, they'll just try to close the game completely down. And the Western Bulldogs, with the lighter bodies, they won't be able to contend. So I'd just like to see some changes made, in as much as Rawlings has struggled up forward.
Eagleton's got a lift.
Eagleton's got a lift. Bowden struggled up forward. You know, it's no good Chris Grant getting back there trying to save the game. They've got to win the game.
Christy Malthouse.
Very interesting to see that the man who was most animated in the Bulldogs huddle then was assistant coach Chris Bond. Now, earlier in the night, even before the 2 teams warmed up, he gathered most of the Bulldogs team together in the middle of the ground and was once again very animated in his delivery when he spoke to them. You'd think he would have been talking about the importance of getting a win here tonight, and once again in that huddle ran straight out to the players, brought them all together for a big talk. For Collingwood, Jason Clope was having some work done on his left leg just above the knee. You'd think if they were further in front, chance he may actually come off the ground, but for now he's going to stay out there.
So we start the final quarter. Collingwood leads the Bulldogs by 2 straight kicks. Street got first hand to it, but it went to Holland, to Lockyer. Underneath it is Gilby. He takes a nice mark. And Lindsay Gilby's had a pretty good night.
Got to move it. Got to move it. Suits Collingwood. They're just getting numbers back while all this is happening.
McMahon. Long kick. Darcy wrestles. Coming in from the side was Maxwell. Put his body on the line. Well, someone's got one of our effects microphones, and I think they've taken it to the back of the stand. It's not us in the commentary position, we can assure you.
This had a well-oiled sound to it. Clement for Johnson. Margin 11 points. The Bulldogs really do need to kick the first here. Boyd and Cross against Buckley. Not a bad result for Collingwood.
I don't want to blame the men in orange, but I think it could have been an umpire microphone. We can assure you it's not the Channel 10 commentary team.
I found out who it is with that burping sound. It's from the umpires because they're mic.
That orange cordial at half-time. A little bit acidic. Now Cooney needs to do something for the Dogs. West has been superb in his 249th game. To Smith. Cross has been good. Eagleton. This is better. Now Darcy's forward. That's who he's after. And he couldn't quite hang on. Here's Robbins again. Under pressure. Good tackle by Johnson. And the Bulldogs are held at bay. Darcy was their chance and he just didn't finish the job.
And he tried to get a free kick from the umpires, but nothing doing there. Good to see Eagleton get a couple of quick kicks for the Bulldogs. They need his penetrating kicks.
Well, both these teams' last quarter records in 2004 have been terrible. Both won 4 out of their 16 last quarters, so it's there.
Free kick might have been there too.
Yeah. 50 metres out from the Dogs' goal. It's an 11-point ball game. Key nicely to Shaw. Holland. Another bounce, 45 out.
There's a shot of Nathan Buckley at half forward. Josh Fraser at centre half forward for the Magpies. And behind them is Robert Murphy playing deep in a back pocket for the Bulldogs. I'd love to see Murphy up around the midfield now. They need his run and skill.
Maxwell sharking. Street spring down. Poor kick. West has it again. That's number 30.
10 clearances too.
Again, just slow movement of the ball. Slow movement.
Plenty of time in the 50 for still no result. Darcy and Rawlings there. Cole brought it down, bound and oh dear. Lucky to score a behind. 10 points is the margin.
Magpies grouping their players in the huddle at centre half back. No outriders, so Clement should be able to hit someone who breaks into space.
Bulldogs 4 inside 50s to Collingwood 0 this term. They still can't nail. Davis to the wing. Nice kick to Lockyer. Again, quick movement from Collingwood as he finds Buckley. Chips to the 50, Burns.
He did that well, Scott Burns. Led to the goal square, took his opponent with him, and then cut back into the space that he'd left.
Well, an old head. A goal here for Collingwood would really break the Dogs' spirit. It's only early days in the final term. Kicks it to the hot spot. In front was Walker. Has another go at it. Back to Shaw, who goes through heavy traffic, but decides in the end to dish off the handball when he might have kicked himself. Johnson, throw in.
It looked to be his shot, didn't it?
Yep.
He did it beautifully. It was a tremendous effort, and he was unselfish in the extreme.
Well, Reece Shaw's in the thick of the action because his opponent, Brad Johnson, has left the forward for the Bulldogs. And as you can see on screen there is now one of the midfielders.
The first goal here is huge. Now there's a whistle and it's a Collingwood free and an advantage called out. Buckley, oh he'll nail it. The Magpies kicked that big first goal. And they lead by 16 points. As soon as it went into the hands of Buckley, that was a certainty, wasn't it?
Yes, you just about picked up your pen, didn't you, and marked it down. And Buckley still playing as a half forward.
The all-important first goal of the last term goes Collingwood's way. It's 16 points the difference. And that's a big margin in the context of this game. Street. Bulldogs have got some urgency, but Johnson for Collingwood swoops on it across half back. Back inside 50. Ordinary kick. Boyd finds Smith, and here's a chance now. Eagleton's got 25 metres. But McMahon at half forward, he can run on. Long kick into the goal square. Point.
Now, Jordan McMahon missed that shot at goal, but at the last centre bounce, he came off the line at the centre bounce. Not enough urgency. His opponent, Ben Johnson, have a look at this, and you can just see, just content to be brushed aside, and that's not good enough.
Clement kicking to a contest, but Shaw beats Brad Johnson. Couple of good things he's done early in this last quarter and got himself out of trouble there very well. Cole, good player for Collingwood. That wasn't so good. He's in bother now, but he's got some helpers. Lockham, he's in bother. But Collingwood just keep helping each other out. McKee getting onto his preferred side. By golly, this is a labour-intensive build-up. And finally the Bulldogs come away with it. Hard did his best to lose it. Can the Dogs make the Magpies pay? Johnson arranges the tester here from outside 50. It's wide open. Rawlings, yes. Good kick, good mark.
And this man with the footy, he won't be too confident about the kick either. Going into this game, he had kicked 29 goals, 26 behinds. So it's just about a 50-50 chance from where he is. Certainly his nose looks better.
Yeah, the cotton wool's gone. And not even smile if you can kick this and keep the Bulldogs alive. It's another miss.
They don't know how to win, the Bulldogs. They've had that many opportunities. 7 goals, 16. And Peter Rode, he can't kick it straight for them.
The look on the coach's face told it all, didn't it? Collingwood work it to half back. Clement. Whoop. Only got clean bowl. Now Clement was just more desperate there than Hahn. And subsequently they'll have a bounce. Just there's more urgency about it, wasn't there?
In close they are much harder, Collingwood, and that's the way that they played their good football over the last couple of years.
McKee the tap, O'Brien wrapped up. As King comes on for Collingwood, Davis sits down for a break. Another twist in this game, but at the moment Collingwood looks the likely winner.
Collingwood have got an extra man back in defence at the moment.
Darcy, I beg your pardon, Grant tried to tap it to West unsuccessfully. Now Smith mops up again to Eagleton. His 10th touch for the game, and here's a chance. Murphy. It's not Murphy, it's Cross. To Johnson. Kicks into the goal square. That's Darcy. And he's given away the free. the chops.
Might have been a very good decision.
Fair enough.
I reckon it was a deliberate shove-off, wasn't it?
Well, he wasn't looking there, but he knew he was there.
Incidental contact is okay. I don't think that was incidental.
5 free kicks against Luke Darcy this evening.
Collingwood could sting on the rebound. Cole, great delivery. And Tristan Walker with a chance to give the dagger the fatal twist.
That was called by the umpire to give the free kick against Luke Darcy. You can see making the move there. The swing back with the forearm. Cop cloak in the face. Good decision.
For a 20-point lead. He's kicked 1-4. And he won't kick many more important goals than that. Can't frither away as many opportunities at one end of the ground as the Bulldogs have and expect to survive. And they're all happy with that.
High supporters celebrating. It's a 20-point buffer. In the middle, straight to Eagleton. And that's a good mark taken by Jade Rawlings. He's directly in front, 45 out. He's kicked 1-1. We saw him miss a short time ago. The game's still not over. I mean, the Bulldogs can still pinch this, but...
Got to kick straight.
That's a help. That'll start. They need more urgency. So Rawlings in front, 45 out. Another Bulldog miss.
It's depressing.
7-17. 24 scoring shots to 23 in the Bulldogs' favour.
Heartbreaking, and it just might break them. As the Magpies have held firm. Nick Maxwell's been good. He's gone a long way there. Holland. Burns, not paying play on Sakura. He won't like that. He has felt wronged once or twice this evening. Maybe it did touch some other hands, but he was the man in front. Tough decision for the umpire, and tough for Burns. Collingwood hold it in.
The time's come for Rawlings to go to centre half back, because every time he gets it, he can't kick a goal, and put Chris Grant forward. No good going down by 3 or 4 goals. Got to make a decision and give themselves a chance to win. Change the structure.
Another injury for the Pies, Leon Davis. Filling up with about 16 men on the field the way they're going, Collingwood. Boyd to Burst. Grant got pushed in the back. Umpire let it go. Back to Burst. Now McMahon. Plenty of territory to work with. Runs along the Doug Hawkins wing. Looks for Eagleton. Good pass and takes a nice mark, does Nathan Eagleton.
He's a wonderful kick, but I think he's just too far out to kick a goal. If he winds up, maybe.
65 from goal. Thumping kick. Johnson in the goal square. Oh, missed it. Rush behind.
He was the only man who flew. And in the end, he just slightly misjudged it. 18 points, 3 straight kicks. The Bulldogs have kicked 7-18. They're kicking themselves out of another match. It's not the first time this year. They've kicked 7 goals goals in more than 3.5 quarters. They need to kick 4 in the second half of the last quarter to win this, but it's not impossible. Here's a chance for McMahon. It wouldn't sit for him, and Holland sweeps it away for sure. And then Ben Johnson. Buckley now can go on and just about put it away. Thump! All the way! This is a victory they'll be very proud of. It just might be the first step on that new journey for Collingwood.
Well, it was a great challenge for them, Tim, with their 3 leading goal kickers out. They had to graft and grind, and they've done that. But the class and the cream rises to the top, doesn't it? And he is all-class Nathan Buckley. Makes the most of his opportunities, and that's something that the Bulldogs haven't done this evening.
Maggie's by 4 goals. Darcy thumps it forward. Only as far as Mercury, who gets it to Holland. Kaiser got a real Smith now. King. Back to Holland. Now Locken on centre wing. To the 50 to Buckley. 55 from goal. The skipper has kicked 2 telling majors in the final term. Wobbles a talk into the goal square. The kick comes out to Farron Ray. Eagleton provides some run. Good solid mark.
That is a good mark. Move it quickly. He's a good kick. He's got Bowden.
Bowden didn't even lead in the end, but he got it anyway. He's picked his moment.
Well, Eagleton put it in a position where he had to move. They don't demand the ball. The Bulldogs players, just not enough of them demand it. And who are their match winners? We haven't seen a match winner. We've seen Scotty West play his heart out. Robert Murphy has been kept deep in the back line for the entire quarter. This final 4th quarter hasn't had a disposal. They need Murphy up in the midfield, even at half forward.
Patrick Bowden has kicked a nice goal. They're still breathing. And Chris Grant has gone up forward, Robert Walls.
Well, it's taken a while, but Grant's gone forward, and Rawlings has gone to centre half back.
President David Smorgan has sworn by Peter Road for next year. This is a match, though, the Bulldogs need to win to shore up his position, because if they lose, it all starts again. They trail by 18 points. They've got to do it all right from here on. Holland for Collingwood. That's a brave mark from Scott West.
Geez, good. A couple of moves have been made by Peter Road. I think they're late, but at least they've been made. Grant's gone to the forward line, Rawlings to centre half back, and Robert Murphy's been moved to the wing.
There hasn't been any nous up forward, has there? And Grant certainly has that. He's played there virtually all his life. Darcy not giving anyone much chance there. Here's Ray, the youngster. West calling for the hand pass. He missed him. Johnson of Collingwood. Too many old heads for the Magpies. Buckley with a player down. Off the ball at the moment. Clement to Buckley, who has been superb in this final term. Now that was a pretty good delivery of Fraser.
Just a super kick by Buckley. We've seen him kick 2 goals, and that one just too far out to score a goal. And Josh Fraser was in the middle of 3 Bulldogs. He was able to pinpoint him with a bullet-like drop punt pass.
Here's a collision coming up between Maxwell and Hahn. They're both hurt. Hahn's coming off And Maxwell he's trying to stay on, but he's got to come off.
Not a bad effort for the first season player. Hahn's a tough cookie. Fraser kicked 2 goals in the second quarter. That's a pretty good kick. It's a very good kick. It'll turn your hair grey. And it'll make you tear half of it out. The Bulldogs have kicked themselves out of this in a match that they really should have won.
And there's Chris Grant now playing at centre half forward. Who's just come off, and you'll see Murphy perhaps coming in off the line at this centre bounce. Now he's on the wing.
Touch, says the umpire. Shaw knocks it further forward. Loney gets there first. Back to Licuria. Puts Collingwood inside 50. Oh, gutsy stuff from Johnson as McKee was bearing down on him. Not enough time now for the Bulldogs, you'd suspect. As McMahon finds Eagleton. Burns, who helped set this match up with 3 goals in the first quarter.
Just in the clearances for this last quarter, it's been 10-3 in favour of the Magpies. Reason for that, stronger bodies, but also stronger will. More importantly, stronger will. 10-3 the clearances. That's a domination. And at the centre bounce, 5-1.
Nathan Buckley, 29 disposals. West has got 31, but he's been quiet in the last term. But as you said, Rob, he can't do it all. He was just about spent at 3/4 time.
Nathan Buckley's 29 in this final term.
And the Pies are playing for time, a long way out.
There's a free off the ball, Collingwood free.
Johnson.
They've become a bit of a rabble, the Bulldogs now, which is disappointing. You look at the scoreboard, and they've had more scoring shots than the Magpies. 8-18.
Let's not take any away from Collingwood, who've been amazingly brave given their injuries. But on the other end of the scale, the Bulldogs have been almost pathetic.
It's a tough thing you say, but
is that fair?
I have to agree with you. The will, the determination to win contested ball in close is just not there.
Tarkenlock has nailed it.
At best, you thought it would be a line ball game, though, wouldn't you? That's why you've got to say the Bulldogs have had an absolute shocker. I mean, it's now 5-goal ball game.
Yep.
And at best, you thought Collingwood might sneak home by a kick.
Well, Collingwood's intent would have been to win a low-scoring game, maybe kick 12 or 13 goals, restrict the Bulldogs to 7 or 8. Well, they've gone beyond that. They've now kicked 14. And the way things are going, they might get a couple more.
Full marks to Collingwood. But the Bulldogs' performance is that of a team that does not know how to win. Lacks the self-belief and the know-how. 30 points, Collingwood's lead. Darcy to Eagleton. Lockyer. O'Brien. The Magpies, bear in mind, have done it with the bare quota of fit men. Burns to Locken. And that's a good kick. And Holland could just add to the Bulldog misery.
In this last quarter, both teams have been inside their forward 50s the same amount of times, 11 each. Collingwood have kicked 5 goals straight. Bulldogs have kicked 1 goal, 6 behinds. And that would break the heart of all those Bulldog supporters out there.
disheartening night. But a night of revival for the Magpies. And Brodie Holland puts them 6 goals in front. They've kicked 7 of the last 8. When the match had to be won, they knew how to do it. And the Bulldogs just didn't. Scoring shots to 26 Collingwood's way, and many of those 26 have been misses that really should have been nailed by the Dogs. I think that probably says something about a state of mind.
The Maggies by 36. Skipper having a run in the ruck. Collingwood go forward again. Buckley. There's West, disposal number 32. Murphy. To McMahon, to Smith into the middle and finds Farron Ray. To Rawlings, moved to half back in the last 10 minutes. Eagleton. Had a quiet night by his standards. Woden happy to see it over the line. The look on the faces tells the story, doesn't it?
David Smorgan's face was obscured. I think the look on his might have told even more of a story.
Dogs work at the half forward, but again we'll have another throw. And let's have a look at some of the stat getters for the Dogs. 2 to West, 24 to Smith, 19 for McMahon. As we see a rare sight this year. The Lame jacket is out for just the 6th time. There's David Smorgan feeling the pain.
No, you've got to feel for David Smorgan.
For the Pies, 30 to Buckley, 28 to Johnson, 22 to Mercuria. As we play our time here at Telstra Dome. Loney, nicely weighted handball for O'Brien. Still might be some more icing on the Collingwood cake coming up. McKee mark. Woden's free in the goal square. Unchecked. And takes the grab. Running down the corridor, unmanned. And Shane Woden will kick Collingwood's 16th goal.
It was Woden who put that ball out of bounds in the Collingwood back pocket. And as the ball went forward, he has run 120 metres to get to that position. Now, one of his great strengths is his fitness, and he used it to the max there.
Shane Woden for his first for the Knights. And this is a superb victory for the Collingwood Football Club.
Some very sad faces, but that is the satisfied man.
You look back and you go on form. Last week, I know a lot of Collingwood, you hear on the Talkback radio, a lot of the Collingwood supporters went, look, the Pies form last week wasn't bad. And we all fell for the Bulldogs tonight with looking at them on paper. But the Pies form last week wasn't that bad against Brisbane.
How could you tip a team whose leading goal scorer for the season had 13? That was Collingwood's situation.
Well, they've had 9 contributors in the goal-kicking column this evening, the Magpies.
No chance.
It's been a stirring effort. Their fans will have had their best night or day, I would think, of this season. Fraser in there pitching, and O'Brien and Johnson, and he goes for an unguarded goal. Just misses this time. They've kicked 7-1 in this last quarter. The Bulldogs have kicked 1-6. Therein lies a tale. If it was the other way round, the result would just about be the other way round. Poor old Rawlings, who had his nose twisted almost at right angles in the first half. Cross has been a positive for the Dogs. Eagleton's worked his way back into the game. Cloak is in the way. And time is just about up. supporters of both teams, I think, will be happy to hear the siren.
Cloak to Clement. He switches. Looks for Shaw. Nicely nudges opponent under the ball. Well played for Shaw. To Lucuria. Back to the 50. Buckley from the side. Almost. Locken. Goes for home. It bounces. It bounces. It's another one of the Pies.
That's their 10th goal kicker.
Yet King running free, but decided to go himself.
Well, Collingwood's greatest strength over the last couple of years, I think it's fair to say, has been their character. They've had it by the bucket load, and tonight it really has emerged in this match.
Look, they've played on hard for the last couple of seasons. They've been knocked around with injury this year. That's hurt them. But this is a stirring win, as you can see.
It's causing people to behave in very strange ways.
It's their best last quarter of the season. It's their best quarter for the season. Right. Not just their last quarter, their best quarter for the season.
And the Bulldogs have fallen apart. Lucuria rolling back as a loose man in defence now. What a miserable night for him. Broken nose. Missed a couple of set shots at goal at telling stages. Where would he rather be? West or East?
Well, the Bulldogs play Hawthorn in 2 weeks' time. That'll be an interesting game.
Speaking of West, he keeps accumulating. Ray into half forward. Grant just couldn't find the drop, but could lay the tackle. And he doesn't fly the white flag, Chris Grant. Baron Ray kept coming. No contentious holding the ball decision there from Brett Rosebery.
And Mick can take the glasses off and relax. He's had a pretty torrid couple of weeks.